Can I talk about the difference between horror and thriller? My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. These two are not as closely linked as you might think, although there is one like big structural similarity, and this is this ever increasing sense of a very physiological symptom in the reader. In horror, we are talking about an ever increasing sense of dread throughout the entire story. Things are just getting worse, and death and mayhem and dismemberment is on the horizon, and this is a very specific type of horror. But in any type of horror, we are talking about an ever increasing sense of dread. So if it is psychological, you are dreading your mind falling apart. You are dreading the serial killer with the axe coming for you, right? So like this is, the bad guys are constantly closing in. That is also happening in thriller. Bad guys are constantly closing in, but rather than an ever increasing sense of dread, it is an ever increasing sense of anxiety. So we are moving faster. Horror is often very slow and very plotting. It is that space between events that gives you that chance to dread what is coming next, where in a thriller it's kind of the opposite, that we have no space to breathe, that it is constantly escalating and speeding up. You're going to have very short, very clipped sentences in thriller very often. You will even have, like, James Patterson writes a lot of thriller, and he'll have like chapters that are a sentence long or 4 or 5 words long, because you want to be turning the pages very, very quickly. Horror is the type of book that you're going to stick in the freezer because you're afraid of it and you don't want to touch it for the next couple of days. So ever increasing sense of dread on the horror side, ever increasing sense of anxiety, with the speed constantly ratcheting up on the side for thriller. Now, both of these have a bunch of subgenres underneath them. You can have body horror, you can have psychological horror, you can have paranormal horrors. In fact, horror often has a paranormal element to it. And on the thriller side, you have legal thrillers and psychological thrillers. So again, we have psychological happening on both of them, but they're going to manifest in different ways. Crime thrillers and legal thrillers and romantic suspense shows up on the thriller side as well, and so that is where we are like blending together like domestic life and a romantic subplot, but it is a thriller. It is increasing in anxiety, not in peace and romance and love, right? Like we are ratcheting up all of the wrong feelings. It is domestic bliss gone wrong. That's what we are doing on the thriller side.